Welcome to Women Being Loved, a weekly podcast and upcoming book series to help you and other women 35 and beyond attract deep, passionate, lasting love while honoring your authentic self. I'm Tadra, your host. Hey, lovelies. If you are here for the first time, welcome. I'm glad you're joining me today. If you have spent time with me before, welcome back. Thank you. I appreciate you. Today, I am going to have a chat with you about choosing a partner for the right reasons. But first, I will preface this episode by saying it has been a rough week, y'all. It has been a rough week for me, and I'm sure for many of you with the fires in LA. I am not in LA. I am in Berkeley, California, but LA is my second home. My husband and I lived there for 7 years. Then we left the US to live in Europe for 3 years, and then we came back to the US and we went right back to LA County because we love it. And a few days ago, we learned that the home we rented when we first returned to the U.S. is completely gone, as is nearly all of Altadena. Altadena is a beautiful little town at the foot of a mountain, and it's where we made home for a bit. And I think most people know Pasadena more than Altadena, but they're both very special places. And unfortunately, some of our closest friends lost everything. So I have personally just had a lot of sadness, a lot of trouble sleeping, having to take the news like in small bits, and taking some time to do somatic therapy over Zoom with a friend of mine named Sasha. If you're not familiar with somatic therapy, it's a way to manage stress and anxiety, and it incorporates body movements, and in my case, a lot of tears. I find it very helpful and have done several sessions with Sasha. She's really been able to help me with ongoing anxiety and stress. And it's not just about being able to do that in the sessions, but also getting tools that help me when I'm on my own. By the way, this is not an ad. This is just me dropping something that may be helpful to you. And I will leave her information in the show notes if you would like to check her out. Okay. Choosing a partner for the right reasons. Last night, because I've been in such a funk, such a hard space, some local friends here in Berkeley invited my husband and me over for dinner. And it was a really wonderful distraction. The food was delicious. We played board games afterwards. It was fun. At some point in the evening, my friend, Marcia is her name, and I began talking about romantic relationships and partnerships. That happens all the time for me. Like, I feel like everywhere I go, somehow those kind of conversations start up because, it's a passion for me and people realize that. And so we end up there all the time. Well, this friend has been with her partner for 30 odd years. Yeah. So she has a lot to share. We began talking about specifically relationships and advice that we would give to younger women or to our younger selves before we found real, mature, lasting love. And she shared a story with me that I thought was so poignant. And I thought, oh, I want to share that. I actually said that to her. I was like, I need to share that somewhere in a book or on my podcast. And it was just a couple of days ago. And so it's still like really fresh in my mind. She said that she had a relationship with a guy when she was younger, I think probably in her 20s. And the guy's father became very ill and he had cancer, I believe. And so he was dying of cancer. And the son, who is the person that my friend was dating, he said that he was not going to go see his father because it was too hard on him to go to the hospital and see his dad sick, and that he couldn't emotionally deal with his father's illness, that he felt it was too hard on him. Fast forward a couple of years, that guy's friend, very close friend, became incredibly ill. And the guy responded the same way. Like, oh, I can't go see my friend because this is too hard on me. And my friend, the woman telling the story, she said she took a really good long look at her boyfriend and she decided to break up with him because when she looked into the future, she thought, what's going to happen when life throws something awful my way? And this man is my husband. If we get to that point, will he check out? Will he decide that it's too hard for him to be by my side? We have probably all heard of situations where women have gotten ill and, their husbands have gone out and had an affair during that time while their wife is battling breast cancer. Or, maybe it's not even life or death like that. Maybe instead she's struggling with postpartum, and the husband steps out. I mean, we have that situation in the media right now that's like everywhere with a particular pop star. And I think, were there signs from the beginning that this person cannot go the distance, that they don't have the maturity for all of life, not just the good parts of life? Probably. I mean, sure, you can't always know what's going to happen, but there probably are little signs. I remember a man I was involved with very long term, to the point like I was crossing over from my 30s to my 40s. And he said to me that he found women's aging bodies unattractive, particularly sagging breast. Then he commented on how happy he was that I was keeping my body tight. And I know he thought that was a good thing. So if I become ill and I can't exercise, I can't keep myself in this shape, because exercise and keeping myself at this size is important to me. I do it for me. I like being a size 4 to a size 6. It's my perfect and ideal. But I cannot control life. And what if, I had a thyroid issue or whatever? I don't know. I can't do this. I can't look like this down the line. Is he going to be out the door? Is he going to be sleeping with other women? Is he going to tear at my self-esteem and tell me this isn't what I signed up for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who wants that? Who wants that? Going back to my friend from dinner the other night, I really respect her and I consider her to have been wise beyond her years. I mean, she was in her 20s and she realized that, hey, you know what? I should probably get out of this relationship. She understood that life is more than the excitement and the energy of young love. It needs to supersede perfect looking bodies, perfectly abled bodies. Love, real, honest, total line, go all the way, to death do us part. Love requires maturing into a partnership that can weather the storms of life. Also, it doesn't have to just be physical challenges. It could be financial. What's going on in LA right now? Whole families have lost everything that they owned. And I've watched couples on the news holding each other, crying, talking about how much they worked, how hard they worked to buy a home in Southern California, to buy a home, period, to give their children a place to grow up, to call home. But Southern California is a special kind of expensive. You know what I mean? And they lost all of that. They lost all of their dreams for the future in this home, in this space, the memories that they shared there. Because I think it was Billy Crystal saying on the news that his children and grandchildren grew up in the house that they lost, and what that means to them to just see that burn to the ground. It's awful. In the face of something this horrible, if either partner is not mature, one of them could decide that they can't handle this and they're going to check out 100% and just do something detrimental to the relationship, something stupid to their family. Like, it could happen. We never know what the future holds for any of us. We hope. We hope that it's going to be filled with all these good moments and memories and joy. And you know what? It probably will. I mean, life has those moments, right? Thank goodness. But unfortunately, we will also see hardship. There's just no way to get around the difficult parts of life. They happen to everybody. Not everything is karma. To all you people out there talking about some ridiculousness about California, you just hate our state. Just keep your hate to yourself. Not everything is karma. Not everything is avoidable. We've got to lean in and expect the unexpected. But when that hits, it's important that the person beside us is ready. They are ready. They are suited up. They got their armor on. They're ready to face the challenge together, side by side. This goes for women too, by the way. I'm not letting us off the hook. A few nights ago, I think like maybe 4 or 5 nights ago, I had a conversation with my brother, and he was saying that where he lives, and I'm not going to tell you where that is. I'm going to let you guess. That could be kind of fun. Tell me where you think he lives when I tell you the second part of this. He said where he lives, it's really hard to get a date as a guy because all the women want professional athletes. They want guys who are driving $100,000 cars. And there's this attitude that if you're not whining and dining the women and spoiling them every moment that you're with them as a man, then you're trash. You're just trash. You're not worth the time. And you know what? I'm a woman who loves to be spoiled. I would actually like to be spoiled more. Just putting that out there in case my husband's listening. But I do realize that that's not all of life. It's not realistic. And it's certainly not the top criteria for picking a husband or a partner for the long haul. I'm going to say that again. It's not the top priority for picking a husband or partner for the long haul. It certainly can be there. It can certainly be there where you're like, bro, sis, whoever you're dating, you need to treat me like this. But it's not a all the time pressure. Like if I'm not getting this 24/7, I'm walking out the door. One of the women in the book that I'm almost finished writing, I'm writing a book called Love Will Find You. I've been working on it for a year. I promise you it'll be worth the wait. One of the women in the book, she told me that she spent years dating really high-powered men who were like CEOs of very high-earning companies that if I named them, you would know, yeah. She said that in her experiences, and I stress this so it doesn't look like I'm making a blanket statement here. Please hear what I'm saying. In her experiences, those men were not emotionally available for her because their focus was career and acquisitions and those things really lit them up. And I'm not criticizing that. Please hear. But she said those men weren't great at emotional, vulnerable conversations. They weren't great at understanding her needs. And again, there's nothing wrong with ambitious, driven men. And other women in my book are married to men like that. Men who are very rich, who built businesses, 8-figure lifestyles, and they love their husbands and say their husbands are available to them. But I will say one thing, that in most of those cases, those men were now retired and they had the time to invest in their relationships. And many of them did. They circled back around and was like, babe, you haven't gotten the best of me through the years, and I want to give you that now. The issue is, are you a woman that's okay with waiting for that to happen if it happens? Okay. So what am I saying? I'm saying to evaluate what's most important to you and then making sure that the person you're considering committing to has the qualities that you desire, not just the lifestyle, but the qualities. That same woman that I was talking about a moment ago, she said she ended up marrying a man who's a woodworker. So he works with his hands, he builds things, and she thinks that's like hella sexy. She's like, I love it. They own a farm in like this rural part of the UK. And she says, of course he doesn't make the money that her exes made, but her needs are better met through this man and the lifestyle that they have built together. Okay? So now, what's a takeaway from today? A really important takeaway. Think beyond the moment where everyone's healthy, everyone has full capacity of mind and body. Think beyond the glowing financial situation that you may be in right now. Think about, could the individual you're currently dating endure a tragedy and stay the course? Now, maybe you're saying, well, how would I even know that if we've not been through anything like that? And that's a really good question. I think you can pay attention to how this person handles everyday frustrations. How does this person treat you when you're sick? It could be the flu. It could be COVID. Do they check out? Are they disinterested? Are they like, hope you feel better. Bye. How do they treat family members and friends when things get hard to endure? When there are hard conversations even to be had, can they go there? Can they do that? Or do they avoid people who are going through something difficult? Or are they right there asking, rolling up their sleeves? How can I help? What do you need? For me personally, it's about looking for signs of selfishness. If someone is incredibly self-centered, they're usually not ready for a serious commitment. They may be at some point, but, and this is a really important but, they have to choose that and they have to work on themselves. They have to see it first. And sometimes they choose to never change. They sometimes just are like, I'm fine. I'm good. I had an ex who told me, you don't seem to like how I am or who I am, and I like myself just fine, which I found surprising considering. But anyway, that's his choice. That is his choice. So I personally would not advise waiting around hoping, but that's your choice, sis. That's your choice. I am going to sign off now because I have waves of feeling okay, like right now, and then waves of feeling incredibly sad. And I'm just going to practice some self-care today and not push myself too much to do too much. I will say, if you are waiting and wondering, when is my book going to be finished? I am down to the last 3 stories that I am writing. And then I need to do some fact checking and format the book, a bunch of technical stuff. But my God, it feels good to be almost at the end of the writing. Unfortunately, a handful of the women who are included in the book are right now going through the LA fires. So I need to be sensitive and not jump on them and say, hey, I need you to, look this over. And, I just need to do something else while they work through this very, very difficult time. Okay, loves, this is normally the part where I ask you if you could please support this podcast because honestly, I could seriously use some help here. But I am going to instead ask if you are able to support financially anything right now, please give that to one of the legitimate fundraisers for the families in LA who have lost so much. GoFundMe has launched an official campaign, so it's not like an individual creating it. GoFundMe themselves created an official campaign to help families in LA. Of course, there's always like the Salvation Army and all the different things that I'm sure are going on. Just really do due diligence because there are, of course, frauds as well, unfortunately, right now. But I'm going to put the link for the GoFundMe one in the show notes. And that's it. Have a lovely, beautiful week. And I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.